Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with a weekly reads video. So originally I had planned to do a vlog, which is what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks. But this week was really busy. So for those of you who don't know, I did mention it I think in my last vlog, but me and one of my best friends, Brie, we started a podcast. She is Falling for Romance on Instagram. And anyway, we have kind of been pre-recording a bunch of stuff, so this week, like I said, was really busy and I did not get vlogging done, but I did get a lot of reading done, you guys. I got 6 books read this week, and sorry if you can hear that crunching in the background. Gordon decided it's time for brunch. So anyway, yeah, so not a vlog this week, just a sit down weekly reads video. I will leave link to the podcast's Instagram below, because from there's a link tree where you can find us on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We of course have the Instagram page. We have a Facebook page. We'd love for you guys to join. So yeah, do check that out if you're interested. I'm going to leave that linked, going forward down below. So yay, it's very, very exciting. So all that being said, like I said, this is a weekly reads episode. So I'm going to go through the books that I read. I did finish 6 books this week, and I will timestamp everything below as well, so you can jump ahead to the different reviews if there's certain reviews you want to hear about, certain ones you don't. As well, I'm going to, of course, talk about what I'm currently reading, because I do like doing that as well. And because I also haven't filmed a crafty podcast in a few weeks, I think I am going to show you guys a little bit of what I've been stitching and knitting on for the last week or so. So the more I started thinking about it, it's like, okay, I've got the podcast, I've got this is my baby, this channel, and then I've got that one, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can continue to do all of them, but I've always really enjoyed showing you guys my crafty stuff at the end. I mean, it's in the name of the channel. I am the Bookish Knitter. So, you know what, maybe, if I vlog, or when I vlog, I'll show you guys then as well. So I think I'm just going to kind of amalgamate it back in here. I hope you guys are cool with that. It's just, I can't do all the things. I would love to do all the things, but I can't do all the things. So because that's the newest one, and my heart isn't in that one nearly as much, of course, this and the podcast are the big deals for me. That's what we're going to do. So this is, like I said, a weekly reads for week number 12. It is March the 21st through the 27th. Like I said, 6 books this week. Super excited. Let's jump in and get started. So the first review I have is Toxin Alert by Tyler and Snell. I gave this book 4 stars. It is book 2 in the Tactical Crime Division Traverse City series. It is Harlequin Intrigue number 1965. This was published in December of 2020. It is, of course, a romantic suspense, and it was narrated on audio by Cindy Kay. So I bought all 4 of these books. There's 4 books in the Tactical Crime Division Traverse City series, and I bought all 4 as a bind-up on audio. Now, that audio is no longer available from what I can find. The books are available individually, but not as the bind-up that I picked up, so I'm super glad I was able to get them as the bind-up. And I will actually get all 4 of these done in the month of March. So I will start and finish a series in a month. That's very exciting for me. For those of you who have been watching me for a while, I dip in and out of different series. I read the 6th book, and then I'll go back and read the 1st book. So for me to start and finish a series in order is kind of a big deal. So this is the story of Carly and Noah. And what I do like about the Tactical Crime Division is that each case is separate. You could read these books completely separately from each other and not really be missing anything. In terms of continuity between the books. A lot of these series that Harlequin puts out, they build off of the books before. Each one will be a separate story, but you definitely miss the continuity if you're not reading them in order. So in this case, this one actually takes place in Amish country. And Carly is she's the, what's the word I would be looking for here? They did call her something. She's really good with toxins and stuff, hence the title Toxin Alert. So what has happened is that a farm in this little Amish community has been not plagued, but someone is putting down anthrax. And a bunch of cows were killed, and then a father and son died from anthrax poisoning. So she's like the poison control specialist kind of an idea. She knows all about the ins and outs of how poisons and toxins and things like that work. So when she arrives there, when the team arrives there to kind of investigate these murders, she meets Noah, who is actually former Amish. He was raised in the Amish faith, and then after his Rumspringer, he decided not to go ahead and join the Amish church. And the two of them end up having a relationship. And the other thing I really like about the Intrigue books is that there is adult content in these, but it's all behind closed doors. And I actually kind of really like that. You guys probably know I could take or leave the adult content. If it's there, so be it. But if it's not there, I'm fine with that too. And yeah, so this one was really good. So for those of you who are actually participating in Amish in April, I would consider this to be an Amish book. It takes place a lot in Amish country. It's got a former Amish main character. It's got other Amish characters in the story. So if you were thinking about participating in Amish in April and you're like, I'm not absolutely certain if that's something I really want to do, I don't know if these books are really for me, I would consider this book to be kind of like a really good entry point into like Amish type stories. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, Amish in April is something that is being run by me and my very good friend Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'll leave link below to my announcement video if you want to go ahead and check out some more information on what Amish in April is. It's something we've been doing. This is our 4th year in a row, and it's really fun. So anyway, so that's the first book that I finished this week. The next book I finished this week was one that was not on my March TBR, but I picked it up and read it anyway, and that was Waking Up Married by Reese Ryan. This book I gave 4.5 stars to. I really enjoyed this one. This is book number 5 in the Bourbon Brothers series. It is a Harlequin Desire novel, number 2793. This just came out in March of 2021, and it is, of course, a contemporary romance. So the reason I read this book is, spoiler alert for this coming Saturday for the Categorically Romance podcast, Bree and I were fortunate enough to get to interview Reese Ryan. So I, of course, I've read some of her books before, but I wanted to read her newest release so we could talk about that, of course, when we got to talk to her. So I did read this one this week over like a day or so. It took no time. It was a quick and fun read. So this is the story of Zora and Dallas. And this book was so good, you guys. Oh my gosh. So they have been best friends since they were in kindergarten. And their families know each other and kind of all that jazz. And he is a furniture maker, like a very world-renowned furniture maker. And he's going to Vegas to get presented with this award. So he invites Zora to go with him. They're both single at the time. He's like, hey, come to Vegas with me. It's like a week ahead of her 32nd birthday. He goes, we'll kind of celebrate your birthday. And, we'll celebrate my winning this award. And it'll be all hunky-dory. Of course, as the title suggests, they wake up after like a hard night of partying and they are married. And she really wants a baby. And she's thinking about going it alone, like doing it on her own as a single woman. She has a great job working for her family's distillery or bourbon making places. Is that considered a distillery? I can't remember what it said in the book. But she works there, so she has a good job, good source of income, and she wants this baby by herself. And she just wants Dallas's support. So all that kind of was discussed before they woke up married. And then when they did, he said, like, why don't we just try it out for a year? Because what happened is she posted their wedding video on Instagram. And the whole family knows. So it's not like they were just going to quietly get it annulled and be like, all right, this never happened kind of an idea. But he's like, since it's kind of out there in the world, why don't we stay married? And she like puts a time on it. Like, we're going to do it for a year, try for a baby. He agreed to help her with that. They would co-parent. She didn't anticipate the relationship lasting longer than a year. And then, of course, the story takes off from there. It was so, so good. I really, really love Zora. She was a great, strong female lead. Dallas was a delight. I mean, they both kind of had their own issues in terms of where they stood with relationships and things like that. But they worked so well together. They had been friends for so long. I mean, it was so great. I really, really liked it. I had not read the previous books in the Bourbon Brothers series, but I was able to jump into this one with no problem at all. And there will be a 6th book coming in this series as well, so I'm looking forward to that. The next book that I finished was Flipped for Murder by Maddie Day. This book I gave 4 stars to as well. This is book number 1 in the Country Store Mystery series. It was originally published in October of 2015, and this is, of course, a cozy mystery book. So I read this one as one of my, trying to read through some series I've already started. And I read, I think, the 8th book in like November or December of last year. So it's a cozy mystery series set in a small, like, country cafe slash country store is what, like, it's the Country Store Mysteries. So it's a store, but she also runs a cafe that serves breakfast and lunch. And our main character's name is Robbie, and in this one, of course, everything is just getting up and running. You're just meeting a lot of the townspeople. There is a murder, of course, that takes place. It's a cozy mystery, and it is a woman who was like the assistant to the town mayor, and nobody in town really liked her, which is usually par for the course with cozy mysteries. They're not, the person who's murdered is often not very well liked. So, if you're being introduced to a character that people don't particularly like, they're probably going to be the ones that end up murdered. But it was a fun story. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I recommend this series. If you like cozy mysteries, you will like this one. What I do like about this one is it hits on a lot of the hallmarks of cozy mysteries, where it's like, a younger woman, not younger, she's in her late 20s, I think, established with her own business. There is often an animal, like a pet. She has a cat by the name of Birdie, and he's named Birdie. She finds him over the course of the first book, is that when he purrs, it sounds like he chirps. So she called him Birdie. And, usually one of the hallmarks is that they're dating the local town, like, sheriff or something, but she's not. I think she's actually in a relationship with a contractor, so that's a little bit different. But she is very close to the chief of police, so of course a lot of information flows her way through that source. But yeah, again, really cute. I really enjoyed this one. If you're a cozy mystery lover, check this one out. The next one that I finished was Colton, Bullseye by Geri Krotow. This book I gave 4 stars to. It is book 4 in the Coltons of Grave Gulch series. This is a Harlequin romantic suspense novel number 2132. This one does not come out till April, so it will be released later this coming week. So if you want to pick it up for yourself, you absolutely can. It is a romantic suspense novel, of course, and I want to send a special thanks out to Geri Krotow for sending me an advance copy of this book to read and review for you guys. I really enjoyed this one. So I'm a big fan of her work to begin with. Now, this is the 4th in the series, but again, I was not lost at all in terms of what had happened in the previous 3 books. I do want to go back and read them. I do have the one, I think it's the 2nd book, and it's by Tara Taylor Quinn, and I want to read that one. I'm looking forward to reading all of them in this series, but this one, she is definitely a favorite author of mine. So this is the story of Dominique and Stratton. So the two of them, this is a second chance romance, if you will. And the two of them dated years ago, and it was kind of their careers, or it was her career more than anything else, that kind of drove them apart. He's a private investigator slash bodyguard, and she's an investigative reporter in this small town. Series takes place in Michigan. And 2 years earlier, they'd been together for a while, and he's like, hey, we should get married. And she's like, hey, no, not yet. I'm not ready for that yet. So they break up. And they haven't really talked in a couple years. They see each other around town. It's not a very big town, kind of an idea. And then at the beginning of this book, she's investigating the murder of an inmate in jail. And this is a man who, said he was innocent for the crime. She actually has information that leads to the fact that, yes, he may have been innocent. So he was murdered in prison by somebody, and she's trying to find out what happened to him. So she's in a rather seedy part of town, and she's kind of looking to speak to this contact that she has, and she gets attacked. And luckily, Stratton is there because her father hired him to watch over her, because her dad's kind of knows, he knows what's going on and what she's doing, and he's worried for her safety. So he hires Stratton to kind of watch after her. And of course, the story goes from there, of her trying to find out this information about this guy, and of course also the rekindling of the relationship. It was really good, very action-packed. I really liked it a lot. Again, Geri Krotow is a favorite author of mine. I highly recommend that you check this series out and this book out. It was really good. Highly recommend. And the next one that I read I actually have a physical copy. Even though I did listen to this on audio, it was the third book in the bind-up I was just talking about, and that is Impact Zone by Julianne Lindsey. So this one I gave 4 stars to as well. This is the third book in the Tactical Crime Division Traverse City series. It is Harlequin Intrigue number 1971, published in January of this year, January of 2021. It is a romantic suspense, and again, it was narrated on audio by Cindy Kay. So, special thanks out to Harlequin and to the publisher, Harlequin and Julianne Lindsey for sending me an advanced e-copy of this book to read. So I did have this one on NetGalley. I ended up listening to it on audio, and I own a physical copy. Go figure. So yeah, this is the story of Allie and Max, and this is another second chance romance. But in my opinion, this is just a bit higher staked than the last one because Allie and Max at one time were actually married. And he is a war veteran. He served overseas, and he ended up losing his leg in the war and in the fighting. And then he came back, and I think that happened prior to him and Allie getting together. So she was kind of with him through his recoup, learning how to live with this prosthetic limb and all these things. And then, of course, he was, no longer working for the army, or the, in the military, he was no longer working for them. So he ended up getting this job with the FBI. And he's kind of he is a bomb specialist. That's what he does. And there is a bomber in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who is setting off these bombs in very crowded areas. And he's already killed a few people when the Tactical Crime Division comes in. So Allie and Max divorced about a year earlier. They do have, I think it's an 18-month-old son or a 16-month-old son. And Allie's kind of raising him as a single mom, but Max is very much involved. And their feelings for each other are still there. It's just she couldn't compete with his work. His work with the TCD always came first and not her and the son. So anyway, in this story, it seems like this bomber might be coming after Allie. So they kind of start to rekindle their relationship as well. And like I said, this is a bit higher stakes than your typical second chance romance because they were married. And in my opinion, for you to go through the whole wedding ceremony and get married and then get divorced however long later, to get back together again is kind of like you've really got to want to get back together again to actually go through with it because you went through the wedding already. You went through the divorce already. Do you know what I mean? So this one was really, really good. I liked it a lot. I really love the character of Max. The one great thing about this series, even though, as I said, each story is separate and you can read them separately, is as you're reading through the series, you really get to know these characters. And the series, of course, is written by 4 different authors. So it's kind of really fun reading how the other authors see the characters. Do you know what I mean? And they really did well. It was seamless. It's not like there was suddenly some weird quirk that Max had from a previous book that you're like, well, that doesn't seem like him, how Julianne Lindsey wrote him. So yeah, really good. I highly recommend this series if you're into romantic suspense. They are really, really good. And the last book that I finished this week was The Babysitter's Haunted House by Ann M. Martin. I gave this book 4 stars. It's book number 1 in the Babysitter's Club Super Mystery Series. Publication date of June of 1995. This is, of course, a middle grade mystery. I read this one for middle grade March Mystery Madness. And this was, of course, the Book Sisters Book Club pick for the month of March. Pardon me. So I did talk about this book yesterday. We did a live show, me, Chloe, and Bree. But for those of you who might not have seen it, a quick rundown on this one. So essentially, the 4 babysitters, Christy, Claudia, Marianne, and Dawn, have all been kind of hired by these 2 families to go spend a 2-week vacation in this small town in Maine, because the one family has inherited this massive mansion and they want to decide whether or not they're going to live there or not. So they take their kids on vacation and the babysitters come with them. And of course, some strange things are happening within the mansion. I mean, it's a pretty easy story to read. I mean, it's a middle grade fiction novel. These are so much fun. Now, I did jump ahead in the series quite a bit to read this one. I am slowly reading my way through the Babysitters Club series, for those of you who didn't know that. But I did jump ahead to read this one. But I know that when I swing back around to it, in the continuity of the series, like as I'm reading them in publication order, I will reread this one again. It was fun. It was really fun. The super specials and the super mysteries have always been my favorites. They were always my favorites. This is the one thing that we talked about yesterday in the live show. And it's funny how different people are. And I don't know about you guys, but I know Chloe, she was never a fan. Like, she liked these ones. It's not like she disliked them, but they were never her favorites. And we were talking about, like, a great point. Like, if you used to watch television shows when you were younger, and, you know, that show was kind of set in a certain location. I always loved the episodes where they, like, traveled outside of that location. Like, if they went on vacation somewhere, or it was a special Christmas episode or something like that. Those were always my favorites. I don't know why, but they were. Like, Chloe referenced the Gilmore Girls. Now, I've never watched Gilmore Girls, but I understand what she's saying. Like, Stars Hollow almost becomes like another character in that series. And if the two main characters traveled and went on vacation elsewhere, she said that would have been an episode she wouldn't have enjoyed, whereas that's something I would have loved. So that's why these ones, the super specials and the super mysteries, were always my favorites, because the babysitters were traveling outside of Stony Brook to a different location. These books are thicker. They jump from character to character. They were just fun. I really think they were a lot of fun, and I really, really enjoyed rereading this one. And like I said, it will get reread again, but it'll be down the line. Like, I don't think it's going to be later this year. It will probably be like next year whenever I end up getting to it. So anyway, that is everything that I have read this week, you guys. So what am I currently reading? So I am currently listening to on audio. I'm almost done. I plan on finishing it today. The fourth book in the Traverse City series, which is Hunting a Killer by Nicole Helm. So this actually features two of the characters in the Tactical Crime Division. The last three books, it was a character who worked for the Tactical Crime Division and then an outside character. Whereas this one, it's two of the characters kind of having a relationship. So yeah, so far I'm enjoying this one. It is about a prison break. Our main character, the female lead, I'm blanking on her name off the top of my head. Her brother, her half-brother, is actually the one who escaped from jail with some other people. So they are kind of hunting them. But like I said, I will get this one finished today, so I will talk about this one next week. I also started a new ebook, and that is Grounds for Murder by Tara Lush. This is the first book in a Coffee Lovers mystery series. I have only just started this one. I read a few pages while I was having my breakfast this morning, and it's about a girl named Lana who lives in Florida, and she runs her family's coffee shop, which is called The Purgatory. Is that not a great coffee shop name? So anyway, she runs this coffee shop, and of course there's going to be a murder that happens. I will have it done for next week, and I'll share it with you guys then. And I did decide to also start a print book. I kind of like having a print book and an ebook on the go at the same time. And I wanted to get this one read because this was one of the ones I had for middle grade March. I only read one other book for middle grade March, like that I actually had on that TBR. But this is the other. Alone was the one I really wanted to get to, and this is the second one that I really wanted to get to. So this shouldn't take me too long to finish it all. I mean, it's middle grade. It's not going to be terribly difficult. So this is The Sea in Winter by Christine Day. And, oops, losing the bookmark. And I believe that this one is the one about a young girl who starts to suffer from depression, and, you know, how she kind of deals with that. So I am really looking forward to this one. And of course, as I said, I'll update you guys next week on my final thoughts on it. So yeah, so that's everything reading wise. Let me quickly jump into some of the crafty stuff I've been doing over the last week. So first of all, I did cast on a new pair of socks. So I had not been feeling like knitting for like the longest time, like weeks and weeks and weeks. And I realized it's because that everything I had been working on, I wasn't in love with. I wasn't happy with it. The sweater I had no interest in knitting on. The socks, I had finished a sock and started and was halfway through the second sock and just didn't like them. I wasn't a fan of the pattern or any of that. I ended up completely tearing out everything that I had been knitting on. And I cast on two new things. So one was a pair of socks, because I always like having a pair of socks on the go. So these are the socks I'm knitting right now. You can disregard my little Peeps marker. I just put him in there so I wouldn't lose him. But there's the sock so far. So this is the Blueberry Waffle pattern. I cannot remember who the designer is, but it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I'll link it below for you guys in case you're interested. But like I said, it's a free pattern. It's pretty much just knit 2 rows and then do 2 rows of knit 2, purl 2, and continue on. So I'm working on the leg. So there's the top of the leg going down. The yarn is absolutely gorgeous. Can we talk about the yarn? Isn't that pretty? Oops. There's my little cheat sheet for the pattern, even though I pretty much know it off the top of my head now. But there's the yarn. It's got like shades of orange in there and pink and blue and white. And oh, it's so pretty. The yarn, do I have the little, yes, I do have the ball band, is from a company called Knitted Wit. And it's their sock yarn, and it's called Paxi is the colorway. And this is an 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. Perfect, perfect sock yarn. So yeah, I am enjoying knitting on this immensely. It's mindless, it's fun. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm very, very happy with it. So I'm glad that I went ahead and cast that on, and it's living in this bag here. This cute little kind of Valentine's Day bag. The other thing I decided to cast on was another shawl. I was just in the mood for mindless knitting. I think that's what I needed. I just needed mindless, nothing to really think about. And anyway, I have 2 shawls, 2 Free Your Fade shawls. I have one in shades of blue and silver that I finished, I think, last year. And then I have the one that's like a purple gradient that I finished, I think, a year or 2 before. But I love that shawl because it's so easy to knit on. It's literally, the bulk of the shawl is just knitting back and forth. You just need to do some increases and some decreases in certain spots to get the certain shape that you have. But I absolutely love it. Again, I'll link the pattern below. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. But I mean, this is now going to be the 3rd one that I'm knitting. The other thing I really like about it is that I love the way I fit in it, like the way I can wear it. I find it a very wearable shawl for me. It's a little big, like it's a bigger shawl, and I kind of like that I can kind of drape it. You know, if you get like a small shawl that just kind of goes over your shoulders, that's not as fun to me. And it's not hugely oversized for those of you who are familiar with the Free Your Fade shawl, which I have knit before. And eventually, once I get this room organized, because that's going to be happening over the next few months, is that I think I've talked about it, but this wall right here that you guys can't see, like it goes along here, all of my bookshelves are going to be going against that wall. So behind me here will actually be my TV, because my TV sits right over here now. It's going to be moving over here. Underneath this window, because I'm sitting in front of a window right now, I'm going to have a chair, and this table's actually going to move over here, like beside the door. So that way when I'm sitting here recording, all my bookshelves will be behind me. And one of the things I want to do eventually is hang that Free Your Fade shawl from the bookcase, like as kind of like a decorative art piece. Because that shawl is, I'm not even exaggerating, is 6 feet long. But I loved knitting that thing. I loved knitting that shawl. You can't wear it though. It's too big. It's just too ridiculously oversized big. So I want to hang it up because it's so pretty. Do I have it handy here? Excuse me, just one second. Darn. No, I don't. I thought it was in that bottom drawer there, but it's not. But anyway, back to the Free Your Fade, because that's the Find Your Fade is the big one. So the Free Your Fade is slightly smaller. And it's a 3-colored shawl. No, I'm not partway through a row. And I decided to use some of the yarn I've gotten recently from a company. They're Canadian. Where is the ball band for this one? From Smash Knits. So there's her card, or there's the ball band. And this is her straight up sock base, which is a 75/25 merino nylon. I could have absolutely used this yarn for socks. And I am part of her Outlander. She's doing an Outlander yarn club. So this was the March colorway. And this is Dragonfly in Amber. So there it is. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? Look at that yarn. I just love those colors, those fall colors. So like I said, this is a 3-colored shawl, and you're supposed to fade one color into the next. So the next color that I will be using after this one is from my old standby, my Sunrise Fiber Co. Ren No Longer Dyes yarn, but I do still have some of her yarn. I have a lot of her yarn still in my stash, and I use it sparingly. So this one is called Iris in the Fog, and this is a 75/25 merino nylon as well. But yeah, so there's going to be the second color. So we're going to go from this and fade it into this. Okay, but you see how it's picking up those colors right there? So that's how we're going to fade it, right? And then the final color, the third color, is another one from Smash Knits, and it's another one from the Outlander Club. This was the February colorway, and it is, I cannot say that word, that one right there. It's obviously in Gaelic or something like that. But look at that, you guys. How stunning is that color? Isn't it beautiful? It's absolutely beautiful. So then this will fade into that. So do you see? You're getting the pinks and those. Isn't that perfect? So that's going to be the shawl, essentially. And I cannot wait. This is going to take me a while to knit on. I pick it up every few days and knit a few rows on it. But that's essentially what I wanted. Mindless TV knitting. I have been doing a ton of cross stitch, but that I find is better during the day. Oops, I'm dropping things all over the floor. I find that's better during the day because of the natural light. At night, I do have a good lamp over here. I also have one in the basement, but it's still not the same as natural light when it comes to cross stitch. But I thought I would show you my cross stitch, the one I've been working on mostly this week. This is from a company called The Frosted Pumpkin, and I will leave link to the pattern below. This is a mystery stitch along. So we only just got the first clue on Wednesday or Thursday. So this is pretty much what I've been stitching on since then. And it's been a lot of fun. So this is the Cozy Cafe pattern, I think it's called, is the whole pattern, but you can still get into the stitch along. So essentially this is going to run from March until December, and every month on the 25th you get another piece of the pattern, if you will. So I'll show you what the clue is for this month, like what the actual image or whatever that you're stitching is. So it's like a cafe menu is what it's going to be, and then every month will be a different type of cafe beverage, I guess, tea and coffee. This one is a mocha, and let me make sure. So there it is. So there's the first one. It's called Raspberry Mocha. Isn't that adorable? So there's like a little panda on it. Super, super cute. So the rest of it, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of like they're blocking out the rest of the image. So that's essentially, do you see how there's going to be other ones as we go through it? So that's the first one. So I'll show you guys what I've done on this one so far. Bear with me here. So not a lot, because I was busy, but you know. So that's what I have done so far. I just have like the little raspberry. Some of this part here is done. And yeah, so I will be working on this today. That's my game plan. Finish that audiobook and work on this. And do you like my little needle holder? It's a little, oh my gosh, it is a unicorn. Isn't it cute? And the fabric is hand dyed by a woman in Toronto, actually. Designs by Rolanda, I believe is her name. I'll leave link to her Etsy shop below for those of you who are cross stitchers as well and you want to get some hand-dyed fabric. Her stuff is beautiful. So anyway, so that's all the craftiness in this episode. So yeah, so that's about it. Life stuff, not too much, just work. It's been getting busier, which is good. It was quieted down a bit, but it's getting busier, which is always preferable. I am still working from home pretty much right now until I hear any different. My doctor, I talked to her a few weeks ago, and she wants me working from home because of the variants, and the numbers are climbing again here. We're definitely into the third wave, so hopefully sooner rather than later I can actually get my my vaccine. But they do want me at the hospital for that, like to come down to the hospital and get it done there. I do have an appointment at Toronto General on the 26th of April to see my cardiologist, so I'm hoping then maybe I can get slotted in, get my vaccine. So that would be, or at least the first one of the two, because I think there's two, right? There's the vaccine and then like a second shot or something. So yeah, so I am really looking forward to it, to getting that done. I actually saw the funniest meme today on Instagram, because it reminded me of like everybody talking about getting their vaccines. And the thing says, the girl, she's like, yeah, my boyfriend got his vaccine yesterday, and the only side effect is him talking a lot about the fact that he got the vaccine. And I just thought that was so funny, because it's true, you know, like everybody who's gotten to get it, it's like, yay. But like my aunt and uncle, my dad's brother and sister both have appointments for Monday to get theirs. So yeah, and this coming weekend, of course, is Easter. So I am off on Friday for Good Friday, which will be nice to have a long weekend. And yeah, anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go because I'm just rambling at this point. I do have another video I'm going to be filming, and that is my April TBR, which I'm super excited about. there are a ridiculous amount of books on that TBR, so stay tuned for that coming out on Tuesday. And yeah, until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.